Good morning to You Are Enough group. How are you going? Steve here, live in Wagga again on a beautiful kind of autumn morning. It's meant to be autumn, but the temperature is going to be up at 30 degrees again today. So welcome. And I thought I'd come on this morning and chat about something that's popping up a lot with clients, popping up a lot with people I chat to, popping up with conversations that I hear or overhear. And that is self-esteem, self-worth, self-belief, self-confidence, and how people really struggle with it. So I want to share some of the insights and the learnings that I've had around this. I'm quite a confident person, so it's never really affected me, but I know how it debilitates and really upsets other people. It affects them in so many different ways. And you know, there's some keys, there's some simple ways to be able to improve your self-esteem. So I'm going to refer to it as self-esteem, but really I'm talking about self-esteem, self-worth, self-confidence, self-belief, all of those four. But we can bundle it all together in the phrase of self-esteem. So the first thing that I find that helps me with my self-esteem is, first of all, keeping promises to myself. So we all make promises to ourselves. We all have this internal chatter that goes on inside our heads. Don't worry about it. You're not mad. We've all got it. But when we make promises to ourselves, when we say we're going to do something, we need to make sure that we follow through. We need to make sure that we do what we say that we're going to do. So, for example, great example would be New Year's resolutions, where we say we're going to lose weight, or we're going to start going to the gym, or we're going to start to do a hobby that we've never really shown an interest in before. Hello there, who's that? Can't see. Sorry, I've got to put my glasses on. Oh no, I dropped them. I'm getting old. Denise, hello Denise, how are you going? Yeah, how's life in Kakadu? What a brilliant name. Yeah, hope you didn't laugh too much at me dropping my glasses. That's old age for you. So yeah, you've got to keep your beliefs to yourself. It's really important that you do this, because you start to build trust, you start to believe in yourself. And that's the key to self-esteem. Now imagine if you were to make a promise that you were going to go to the gym 6 times a week and you only went twice. And then you get up the next week and you think, well, I only went twice last week, what's the point? So I'm not going to bother going this week. You know, subconsciously you are telling yourself that you are rubbish at keeping secrets. Rubbish at keeping promises. That you are rubbish at going to the gym. You know, and that starts to chip away at the self-esteem. Now, if you continually do this, if you keep going on over and over about making promises and not following through. So you say you're going to go and meet a friend for coffee, and then you feel like, oh, I can't be bothered, or something else has come up, something a bit more interesting, and you phone that person, or you probably send them a text or an email saying that you can't turn up because you're tired, or whatever excuse you use. Internally, you've broken another promise to yourself, another chip away at the self-esteem. You know, if you say you're going to do something at a weekend with a partner or something, and then you get out of bed on a Saturday morning and you can't be bothered, it's another chip away at the self-esteem. So can you see how by making promises to yourself and not actually following through on your promises to you, you're actually damaging your self-esteem? So my big takeaway for you on promises is, keep your promises realistic. Keep your promises to yourself. Make sure that you follow through. So I'll give you an example. I've been on loads of diets, yeah? Heaps and heaps and heaps of diets. And every year I break those diets. I just can't stick with them. It's not for me. And this year I thought, what can I do to make this promise to myself and to actually keep it? And I changed the language around it. So I changed, rather than being on a diet, I said, I'm going to start making healthier choices around the food and the drinks that I consume. And I've been able to do this for the last 4 months because it's an easier thing to do than being on a diet. So every time I choose what it is that I'm going to eat, every time I load my plate up and I look at my portion control, especially when I'm out having coffee meetings with people, I now start to have peppermint tea rather than a full fat latte or a flat white with extra sugar. So can you see how I'm making that promise to myself to make better choices, and I do make better choices, and I've already lost 4 kilos because of it. Woohoo, go me. Yay, little happy dance. Okay, so, you know, and that's important as well, to celebrate your victories, but that's a different story. So keeping your promises to yourself doesn't necessarily mean making really high level promises. It just means changing the language, making small promises. Start off with the small things. Start off with the things that you know you can achieve. You know, if you say you're going to go out for a coffee, then go out for that coffee. If you say you're going to do X, Y, and Z on a day, then make sure that you do X, Y, and Z on the day. So that's one step that you can use to really start to build your self-esteem, because it's all about you. It's all about trusting yourself and who you are. Now, the second tip that I want to share with you is about personal boundaries and enforcing those personal boundaries. Now, this morning I put a post in the group about that, or on my page on I Am Enough Coaching. And it's important for our own self-esteem. Remember, we're talking about self-esteem, self-worth, self-confidence, and self-belief. It's important for our own self-esteem to know what our boundaries are, and then to be able to enforce those boundaries, not in an arsey way, not being a wanker, but being respectful to yourself and to the other person. Now, 9 times out of 10, that other person doesn't actually realise they've encroached on one of your boundaries. They've crossed that line. You know, they've violated something that you hold really dear. So if they've got no idea, then there's no point in you getting all angsty about it and upset and, you know, things like that. You just tell them in a resourceful way. You know, so for example, if somebody lets you down, you can say, well, you know, I'd put things in place for that. I'd done these things. I'd done the preparation. I was really looking forward to going out for a coffee with you. I was looking forward to going to the gym with you. You know, whatever it is, say to them, my time's precious as well. My life's precious. X, Y, and Z is precious to me. And you can use these examples in a nice way to be able to enforce your boundaries so that you believe in yourself. Now, that will build your self-confidence. If you can enforce your boundaries, if you say, that's not acceptable to me, and this is why, don't just say that's not acceptable and then walk off. That's like throwing a tantrum. But if you can have an adult conversation around it, this is why, X, Y, and Z, then the other person will probably go, wow, I hadn't even thought of it that way. I hadn't even seen it from your perspective. I'm sorry, you know, or I'll make sure I don't do that again. It's like when somebody stands inside your personal space and they're really close and they're like, up this close, and you're like, go away. Yeah? You can step back and you can go, excuse me, I'd just like to have a little bit of space around me. It's just a personal thing. But, you know, please respect that. Don't crowd me. I feel uncomfortable. And most people will go, oh, sorry, didn't realise. Okay, that's cool. You know, so there's ways that you can enforce your personal boundaries in a good way, without having to be a knobhead about it, without having to be an arse and upset other people. But when you enforce your own boundaries, whoa, it really cements and builds your self-confidence, your self-worth, your self-esteem, your self-belief. But imagine if you didn't do that. If somebody was up close and personal and getting in your face and all this sort of stuff, and you didn't do anything about it, and you just went, don't like that. But you did that internally and they didn't have any idea. And then you went away and you walked away, and all of a sudden, you know, internally you're going, geez, I wish I'd said something. I should have done something. Oh, that doesn't sit comfortably with me. What happens? Chipping away at your self-esteem. So these are just 2 simple things that you can do to start to build your self-esteem, your self-worth, your self-belief, your self-confidence. And if you start to do these on a regular basis, it becomes a habit. And if you can build your self-esteem to a point where it becomes a habit, then you can start doing more challenging things. And it gets bigger. And you get out of your comfort zone, and it gets bigger, and it gets bigger, and it gets bigger. And then you're able to do things like this. Go on Facebook Live and talk to a tablet. And know full well that 400 or 500 people may watch this in the next couple of days. And you don't worry about it. Because you know you've got the confidence in yourself that what you're doing serves you. And that's what I'm doing here. My mission is to positively impact as many people as I can. And this is one of the ways that I do it. So I'm actually fulfilling my personal needs of self-confidence, self-worth, self-esteem, self-belief. And also I'm completing my mission by putting myself out there and sharing this information with you. So can you see how it works? It comes back and it makes you feel better. It makes you happier, because that's what we all want at the end of the day. Whatever it is we strive for in life, the one thing we want to be is happy. Okay, I hope that's made sense to you. And if you want to talk about it any further, you want to give me any feedback, you want to have a chat face to face with me, you know, we can do this. We can do these things. I'm more than happy to talk to you and to discuss, you know, personal situations and things like that, where you may be able to enhance your self-esteem, or any other issues that you're currently facing at the moment. That's what I'm here for. So hit me up, put a message down below, say, Steve, can we have a chat? Or inbox me. You know, anything like that. There's so many different ways to reach out to me. Just make sure you do. Have the confidence to be able to do that. Everybody's got issues, everybody's got dramas, everybody's got histories. All right? I don't judge anybody. Who am I to judge? I've had some pretty shit decisions in my life as well. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Have a wonderful Easter, and take care with whatever it is that you're doing. All right, thanks for joining me. Catch you again soon. Bye-bye.